So let's now work on sorting these activities in date order. Now we should really do this on the API side as well, but for now we also need it to be done on the client side so that when we do create a new activity, or we change the date of an existing activity, then it locates itself in the correct place in this activity list. So let's see how we can do this. And what we can do, we can go back to our activity store and we can use a different kind of MobX function called a computed property. And let's bring in computed from MobX. And what we can do here, I'm just going to add it towards the top, just underneath our observables. And I'm going to say computed. And we use computed properties when we already have the data inside our store, but we can work out what the results of this should be based on already existing data. And sorting the activities by date is a kind of ideal candidate for a computed property because we already have our activities and they already have dates. So in order to use a computed property, we use computed get, and then I'm just going to call it activities by date. And what we want to do is return the result of this computed property. So we're going to say return list.activities.sort, and then we need to pass in a sort function. So we'll say a comma b, and what we want to do is sort our activities by date. So if I try and do a.dates minus b.dates, then I'm going to get some errors because the sort function must be of type any number, big int, or an enum type. And our dates are currently strings, so this isn't going to work. So we need to convert these into dates. And because these are ISO strings, what we can use is the dates.parse function and wrap this around our dates and do the same for the b date as well and say dates.parse and wrap that around this date, and then this function should work. And this should provide our dates in date order, in ascending date order. And what we need to do to make use of this is in our activity list, where we're using our activities from the activity store, instead of activities, let's bring in activities by dates, and I'll use this as the activities that we're mapping over. And what we should find is that our activities now are sorted in date order. And that is indeed the case. We can see that the new test activity I created is now in its correct location. And if I create another activity, and let's call it test MobX 2 in this case, and say test and drinks, and we'll give it a date of the 12th of July this time, and say test and click submit, then we see that this drops into the correct place in our activity list. Excellent. So before we go ahead and edit the activities, there's something else in MobX I want to introduce, and that's the observable map. And we'll use that to store our activities instead of just a simple array, and we'll take a look at that next.